Hi, good morning. It's me, Nosi, again. I would like to talk about issues that are in my heart during this Women's Month as we celebrate it. I would like to challenge our understanding of this word, gender equality. I'm not going to break it. If you are interested, go and check the meaning of gender equality. But what I would like to say is that most of the problems that happen to us are caused by gender inequality. Most of the abuse, be it physical, psychological, emotional, and sexual. I used to say, when someone wants to feel the power, his power, to a woman, he uses his manhood to disempower a woman, to make her feel small, to embarrass her, to make her feel shame. He uses his manhood because he's having that idea that his gender is superior to him, and uses masculinity, his physical power. We were not born strong as women, and uses his masculinity to disempower us, to make us feel dirty and small, even beating us. It is gender inequality because masculinity, English is not my language, so I will not pronounce words the way they are supposed to be pronounced sometimes. And I'm a Xhosa speaking person. I click, and I'm proud to speak my Xhosa, but I will communicate in English as a foreign language. I'm just addressing those people who will focus on the language or in the way I pronounce certain words. Masculinity, whatever it is, but you know what it is. But will use their masculinity again to beat us, to bruise us, to threaten us. Some of us have been held this way, to be made to feel afraid. I was getting married one year to this man who, when he wanted to abuse me, would drive a car so fast that just to threaten me, to make me feel afraid. She would put it in a higher speed that will make me feel like we're about to do an accident. And by the time he stops it, he would stop it by force so that I feel the bang, so that I must feel afraid. One day, I knew that he wanted to beat me, but he ended up beating the wall. He was coming towards me to beat me because we were talking, and he was saying his point and I was saying his point, so we were arguing. Then by the time he was coming, threatening to beat me, I said, "You beat a social worker who specializes in social work and psychology. I'll show you what I'm made of. I will destroy you and I will send you to jail." Then he stopped and beat the wall so heavy. Then deep down I knew that he wanted to beat me. Then he took the anger to the wall. It's his masculinity. Because we argue, he says facts and I say facts. He says facts and I say facts. Then he gets angry. Because in his mind, my gender is supposed to keep quiet when he talks, because I'm supposed to feel low. That's gender inequality. I heard people using the terms women this, women like that, women like that. One day I cautioned men, talking about an argument they had as men somewhere, And then they said, but the next day we handled it like men. We smiled. If it were women, they were going to lose control and they were going to sulk. They were going to. And then I said, okay, does that mean women cannot control their emotions and it is only men who control their emotions? I went into a church where a pastor would stand up and say, the Holy Spirit is saying women have lust. They are lusting on the brothers in church. And by that time, when he says that, I always wanted to challenge him and ask him, who makes pregnant a woman? Because it takes two to tango. And in most churches, sisters would be pregnanted by men through manipulation. As I spent almost all my life in church, I know one thing which also promoted gender inequality and abuse in marriages, where a sister and a brother would, in a moment of lust, have sex and pregnant one another because it was planned. Because it was not planned, so there were no precautions taken. Then they would pregnant one another. To resolve it, the senior pastor would say they must get married. First of all, there's no love into that marriage, and that couple is open to issues of gender-based violence because they married without loving one another because of one moment of mistake or one moment of sin. They are not supposed to be married when they have pregnanted one another. But that brother, he should be taught to be a man and to be a father to that child even after he marries in church. With this thing of gender inequality, it happened a lot in church that a man would come to you and propose marriage. Then when he decides that he doesn't want to do it anymore, he would use another sister to push you and act as if you are the one who wants him, whereas you haven't started this thing. You were focusing. He comes, he starts it, he put the ideas in your mind, he SMSs you, he hugs you and holds you tighter than the other people, planting all those ideas, introducing you to his family. But now when he decides to change his mind, he pretends it's you. One even told me that he wants to marry me. He even said that, and I told him that if I wanted to, I would have sued you for breach of promise. What made me laugh into this is when I reported him to the senior pastor. The senior pastor, I said I would have taken him to court. The senior pastor said, no, you are not going to take him to court under my pastoral care. And I was like, okay. I kept quiet. If I wanted to, I would have done it. But I was like, let me leave him because they are going to think I'm desperate. But I wanted to do it to teach him a lesson. You don't come to women's lives to hurt them. Start this I love you, I want to marry you thing as a strategy to play with their emotions. I forgot where was I, but I talked about physical abuse. I talked about mental abuse. You know, a person would insult you, would belittle you. I was just called stupid by a man. He's supposed to be a reverend, a bishop. He's called me stupid. And I said, huh? Did you just call me stupid? I think I was too friendly to him that he thought he could say anything. I responded out of anger because his English is so bad that I don't even want to know where he stopped at school to call me stupid. But my response was, you don't ever say that to me, but let me address you. I can never be stupid because I've got 6 degrees. I'm doing a PhD. Okay, that seems arrogant, but that time I needed to address it. You don't psychologically abuse me by calling me stupid, by calling me fat, by calling me all the belittling names. I had a friend who was constantly criticized by her fiance that she had broad shoulders. She was not well structured. Then what does he want into her life if she is not well structured? You see, That's gender inequality. That's women abuse. I know that there are women who have used power against men, but they are few. Those that used power, for an example, I know men who have been raped by few women. Although in South Africa there were debates about if a man can be raped by a woman, where people would argue about issues. How did he get erected and all of that? I know that. So I know that there are issues where power has been used, but it's few. The wounded ones are us in most cases. So we have to address these things, and it is not attack to men. We should be allowed to freely say our stories without them feeling offended. I was in a meeting recently. I'm a gender-based violence activist and I work in gender-based violence. So when I advocate for those issues, I would advocate them with passion, not with emotions, but with passion. Then what puzzled me was I would have thought this group of men was empowered on gender issues. I would have thought that. I would have thought that they are enlightened, and because they are also church people, I would have thought they are empowered, which is my passion, because I know a lot of abuse happens in church and people are expected to keep quiet. So a lot of sexual harassment happens in church. So a lot of abuse, gender-based violence happens in church by the men of God who are wearing these long gowns, but deep down they are rotten. So I stand up and I tell them the kind of work that I do, and I tell them how we need to work with them. The response was disappointing because they became defensive, as if I'm saying they are the rotten ones. We should be able to advocate our issues, to tell our stories without them answering and making them feeling like we are referring to them or making them defensive. And one other man amongst them saying we mustn't communicate these issues with emotions, and I didn't answer because again that was gender inequality, because when I'm passionate I'm referred to as emotional. I would like to address my sisters who have been victims of rape and gender-based violence. Men have made us to feel small. They have raped us, they have belittled us, they have done emotional abuse to us. Religion has abused us, and it has been used in many ways to abuse us, to silence us, to make us feel small because we are women. Society is raising our sons and boy children to look down on women, to abuse them, to use power to silence them. At an early age, our boy children know how to belittle women. We need to look into that. And the worst part is other women. Men know that they cannot destroy them. They cannot destroy us themselves, but they are using other women to destroy us. I've seen this where I've worked, where other women would ill-treat me just because I think I'm better than them. We're all in management, but now I think I'm better than them. They would do so many things that are hateful to me as a woman. My mother was the victim of that. Her in-laws abused her and her children. It was worse when she was abused by another married woman who thought she was supposed to be better than her. I don't know how she thought she was supposed to be better than her. So we feel like we are silenced. We are wounded in many ways. That is why I show the picture of this woman who fights left, right, center. Everybody was trying to make her a victim. To the victims of rape, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual violence, I would like to say this is and has not been your fault. This is and has not been your fault. Do you hear me? We are in this together. We are in this together. Contact me. Talk to me. Check me. Locate me. We are in this together. I will help you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Fourthly, I also feel this way. I felt this way in many ways. I have so many stories to tell, and I feel this way. But be that as it may, I know one thing, and I'm sure of it, and that is, I believe you. People might not believe you. Relatives might not believe you. Your stepmother might not believe you. Your aunt might not believe you. Your religious people might not believe you. But there are people who believe you, and I'm one of them. I believe you. And lastly, we need to heal. Please heal. We need to heal. Find steps. Start the journey of your healing. Start the journey of your healing because you need to heal. You can contact me and I'll be there. God bless you. I love you.